Hey everyone, it's me. I don't know if I've said my name in in previous videos, perhaps. But I'm very private. Aside from obviously sharing my on YouTube, I don't have any other platforms. So there's that. And yeah, I will as of now, because who knows, things might change in the long haul, but as of now, I don't plan on sharing much or like going into detail, but more or less being vague about a lot of the things. Although being transparent about where I'm at, because as mentioned also in my previous video, that this is going to be more of like a diary type of YouTube channel where I speak on my experiences and it's more of my journey, especially as a woman of color navigating this world. And so I know I focus a lot on the US, but it's a worldwide experience. Let's keep it real, you know. I've traveled to other countries and unfortunately there's colorism there. And I hope that with my YouTube channel I can wake up some individuals. I feel like some individuals believe in social justice and believe in being treated fairly and equally. Just, you know, being people of color, navigating this world, experiencing racism as well, or colorism. And they have yet to just get it to click, right? So I hope that this channel kind of paved the way for that, because I do find that Black and brown unity is and can be extremely powerful. And I do believe that we have it in us to excel beyond belief, right? So, and despite the obstacles, and I actually wanted to share something because I came across a picture by a YouTuber. He posted a picture on that was in regards to the current situation with Harvard. I haven't looked into it that much. I don't really know everything about that, but it was interesting what he put up, given the fact that Trump has specifically targeted Harvard. And that's the fact that Obama, Michelle, and Sasha are all graduates from Harvard. From what I understand, Trump's son applied to Harvard but did not get in, was rejected. It's interesting how I feel like there's this specific fixation on behalf of Trump and his followers, which I wouldn't be surprised are white for the most part, on Obama. There's always been this emphasis on Obama as a president, but why don't we have that same energy? Or, I mean, I loved Obama. I mean, hey, Obama, definitely the most qualified president. Definitely. Harvard graduate, speaks eloquently, understands international relations. Like, this is important. Like, let's represent properly, right? When it concerns having a president. I want a president that uplifts education, uplifts knowledge and understanding of the world, and is about community and all of humanity. It has that at the forefront. Trump doesn't embody any of that. Let's keep it real. And I find that Trump and his followers feel entitled. They feel entitled because they believe only the white community can have certain roles or qualified for certain roles. Hence, this idea that their initiative to push out DEI is based off merit. Yet he is targeting Harvard because they rejected Barron. Which one is it? Is it You want merit or you want privilege? And I mean, you have privilege. You want to use it to your advantage, and you don't want to earn something through merit because you believe your son deserves it. Is that it? Because he's white, or he's your son, or he comes from wealth. And this is the issue that I have. And, sometimes I'm like, oh, I wish I was around more people that picked my brain, because currently I'm in a place that I feel like a lot of folks are brain dead. I kid you not. Fortunately, in the workspace and place that I'm in, but also in this environment. And I've told my partner, I'm like, I miss New York City because I feel like people there challenged me mentally. And I'm always open and I welcome knowledge. So I'm not someone that's going to dismiss and be like, oh, I can't learn and be better. I have the potential to learn and be better. And I welcome that. But here it's almost this energy of I know it all. And spewing racist rhetoric, stereotypes is part of that know-it-all energy. And it simply makes people, let's keep it real, look stupid. It makes people look like they don't really get it. Like, I find that it devalues people significantly when I hear racist, colorist rhetoric. And that can be in the form of stereotypes, biases, whatever it may be. So that's one thing I wanted to talk about, because I was looking at that picture and I was like, oh, now it all makes sense. Now it all makes sense. And I wanted to say this because I know that as communities of color, we've been through so much. Our ancestors have been through so much. We continue to go through so much. I saw and I feel like there's a silver lining amidst it all, right? And that's the fact that we've always had to be excellent. And that's one thing that a community has the privilege to not have to be excellent. Like and I would like to, hopefully I don't word it in a way that sounds confounding, because I feel like it's I guess to put it in a more visual fashion, because I was thinking about this, and as someone that comes from a Christian background, and I feel like I've made mentions of Christianity in the past, especially with the fact that Trump supporters claim Christianity, yet clearly know nothing of it, about the faith and about the teachings and message of Christ. And perhaps they go to church that just goes on and on about politics, yet Jesus said, give to Caesar what belongs to Caesar and give to God what belongs to God. Talking about governments, like, focus on God. Don't focus on government or people. Yeah, give them what they're asking for, but focus on the above. So this obsession about politics has always baffled me when it concerns, walking with Christ and simultaneously walking with politics, wanting to merge those two together. And Christ was like, I'm not about that business. I'm about my Father's business. But okay. But okay. I feel like much of society in the world today is a lot of the individuals that believe they're in the right path and following Christ reflect Pharisees and Sadducees, which he saw from distance, right? Far I see him from far. Sadducee, you're sad I see. All right, I don't know, I heard that before and I was like, oh, that's interesting. But it's insane. It's insanity to me. So many contradictions take a moment to let it sink in, let it marinate when you hear someone say something. You're like, okay, okay. Like, what nonsense are we saying? Are people saying now? Ah, my. But this is the world we live in, where people refuse to be better, they refuse to do better. But I guess I'll circle back to silver lining. So one thing that I remember hearing when I was growing up, especially growing up in a Christian household, and I said it before, I don't align with organized religion, and I have my sentiments. I think I cover that in videos in the past, or have covered that in the past. Not sure if I'm going to dive into that, because I feel that that's a very personal journey, which is another thing. Like I always find it puzzling when religious people are always trying to tell other religious people how they should live, what they should be doing. Worry about your relationship with above, right? Worry about your relationship with above. Don't try to meddle. It's not three in the party, right? It's that term ABC. See your way out of there, right? Because that's their relationship. So, yeah. So I've always seen so many behaviors. I'm just, who are we? Do we ever take a moment to like really analyze and introspect, right? Our own self, our own behaviors? And yes, I have done that, and I'm a person that's always open to more knowledge and understanding of the dynamics of this world. But I do feel like there's a silver lining despite all the challenges and obstacles that we've undergone. And honestly, the picture that comes into my mind is how in the faith, right, in Christian faith, there's this fire refines, if I'm not mistaken, refines a sword, or fire it refines sword or blade. And I don't want to, like, I'm not going to quote anything, but it's like being refined, right? There's always this emphasis on being molded, right? Becoming a better version of yourself. And I find the obstacles and struggles that we've undergone as a community of color has allowed us to act in excellence, to rise above, right? And it's sad because we have to do more, right? In this society, in this world, we have to do more. And it's a heavy burden. It's a heavy, heavy burden. But just know that you've earned it. You have worked so hard and you've risen above, right? You are refined through those challenges. And I find that even when circumstances arise, right, when a crisis, if and when it may arise, naturally I feel like this is a crisis where there is a current president, but you never know in what state this country may be in, right? Or in what state this world may ever be in. And to know what it is to have gone through struggle, have gone through difficulties, just know that you're going to be able to be resilient and overcome that. And I believe in you. I want to say that much. Oof. And I want to say that, and I've said this before, like, I hear you, I see you. just know that there's other people that are also going through difficult situations, have their challenges that relate to yours. Don't feel like you're the only one, right? There's other individuals that are rooting for you and believe in you and only speak goodness into your life for my fellow brothers and sisters. Ooh, so I do want to say that I do want to see, us as communities of color, despite our shade, like despite our skin tone, because I feel like there's always this emphasis on these superficial things, and let's look beyond that. We've gone through similar journeys. Perhaps not all, because I don't want to assume, and I've said that as well, but I find that many of us know and understand what it is to be cast aside, to be to receive different treatment, to not be as valued, right, as perhaps a fellow white individual or white adjacent individual or someone that presents as white simply due to skin tone, right? But you are seen, and I always make it a thing to, this is something I do, where if I see a POC, I smile and I definitely try to give them my good energy because I see them. And despite people out there trying to put you down, I find that that's a reflection. I remember reading also, a person that puts you down is intimidated by you. Their attempt to, and I maybe I should post it on the feed on YouTube, but it's like, I forgot who it was, but it was like, anyone targeting you or attempting to put you down is because they see something they want from you. And we should take also a moment to realize how gifted we are as people of color. We got knowledge, we got experience, we have ageless skin. Come on. We have amazing hair, thick hair. We have bright smiles because our complexion allows our teeth to just glow. Ooh, we are so shapely, like truly the definition in our bodies is glorious. And we are resilient. Despite whatever comes our way, we push through, we continue to push through. And I want you to see that beauty in yourself, to know that, to claim it, and to let go if you feel like at one point or another you've questioned your self-worth, you've doubted yourself. Just know that many of us see the reality of the dynamics of this world and we're not moved. I stand where I stand. I know what I know. And there's no way anyone can ever convince me that these things do not exist, that inequality does not exist. But we should work towards equality. And, I do encourage you all to always be kind to your fellow brothers and sisters and to not only, humanity, to the environment, to animals. I know sometimes it's hard when you're hurting to not reflect that hurt onto others, but I hope that you can be the difference and make the difference. And perhaps I won't talk about, I don't know, I wanted to also, aside from just uplifting all of you that are watching, I wanted to actually share an interesting experience. So, although I don't find that it's very uplifting, it's rather unfortunate. But it's the unfortunate reality of this world where a lot of people will pander to racist rhetoric. And I find that what falls under the umbrella of racist rhetoric is stereotyping and biases and beliefs and just terms that are so freely used that are detrimental to our own communities, because not only do I see racism, and I've spoken about this and I speak about this a lot, there's not only racism or colorism displayed by the white community. Racism also exists and colorism exists within our own communities, which is, one of my strong points of we need to unite as people of color. We need to stop pandering to racist rhetoric. And I also said there was this perfect way to actually state, essentially like label those that are, and I hate the terms label, but kind of describe those that within our community and communities of color naturally. Unfortunately, some communities within our own community want or are okay with being the white man's lapdog, right? Or the white woman's lapdog. But taking a moment to even appreciate or uphold your own community, your own people, your brothers and sisters, just because they're different shade or from a different place globally, it's such a difficult, it's hard, right, for so many individuals. But we need to get out of that mindset, because I do find that it's rooted in self-hate. And we have to really love one another. We have to embrace one another, listen to one another, stop repeating rhetorics that are not conducive. And that's something I've been experiencing at my workplace, which has had me question, do I want to remain there? Because I feel like I've been in different workplaces as of these few months from just living here, and I'm like, wow, there's a lot of ignorance, there's a lot of lack of understanding and knowledge of simple things, basic things. And I think I've mentioned them previously in my first job, just to have more concrete examples. My first job here in this area, one of the individuals, which is an educator, I was doing an administrative role within this the schools, and she stopped one of my colleagues, woman of color, Latina, and she said, "Where are you from?" And I guess she stated that she was from the area, like from this area. I can assume, like, where are you from? Like, oh, I live, X, Y, and Z. And then she's like, no, where are you really from? Look, just because the person doesn't look like you doesn't mean that they're from they can be born and raised here. But most importantly, let's take a moment to recognize that this very individual, the educator, was of European ancestry. Imagine, and honestly, my current job, which is a different industry now, to be exact, well, actually, no, I should keep it, but it's another industry that, does it really, I mean, I know that there's a lot of researchers out here, so in the industry that I'm currently in, it's service, or is it service? Yeah, I feel like pretty much every industry is service oriented, period. It's service oriented. uh, what was I gonna say? Because I lost my train of thought, but um, in my current, yes, I now remember my current workplace, my colleagues, when interviewing the individuals that they see, have mentioned that white Americans, right, white of European ancestry Americans, because they love to pinpoint that everyone else is from elsewhere, yet they have difficulties remembering or recalling that their ancestors came from Europe, or maybe they are ashamed of that. I don't know. What is it? what is it? What is this desire to just claim America but not really recognize your own heritage or identity? It's very bizarre. But with that being said, they get up in arms when you ask them what their status, immigration status is. In my mind, it's like, oh no, you're too good to. Oh, you're too good to be an immigrant. Is that it? Because your ancestors were an immigrant once upon a time. I mean, like, which one? Like, my. And I remember seeing something in the news, which I feel like these things perpetuate. Although I do see how that can be problematic as well. There was a news outlet that individuals of European ancestry couldn't be labeled as immigrants or asylum seekers, something along those lines. And in my mind is really, I really took a moment to say, has the West tried to create this narrative of Black and brown communities solely being individuals that need, that require assistance, require help, that need to be saved? That's, in order to continue colonization just in today's day and age, right? White saviors coming to the rescue. Are they trying to continue to propel this idea that we need white people to excel? Yet, interestingly enough, I came across this post today as well about the spelling bee, and this white man said, "There's no white kids, white girls or boys." Yes, communities of color have been excelling. Well, let me start off by communities of color have been excelling in multiple sectors. Yes, beyond spelling bee, naturally, I know that we want to shift the focus of like music and sports, but that's one of the many areas, right, that it's a gift. And once again, our communities can only be at the level of excellence. Who's created that? Who's caused that, right? Colonization. Oh, you have to be the best, but you can be mediocre when you're white. You can be mediocre, below average when you're white, right? I mean, that's the message that they've provided all throughout history, and they continue to. And it's, well, you will remain in mediocrity. Is it? I don't want to butcher that word. You will remain mediocre or below average, given the fact that that is the standard in the white community, but excellence for the Black and brown communities, because we have no other way of being able to move. The expectations are high, right? And that's an unfortunate thing, because that places such a large burden. But it's also a reminder that Trump has pushed this idea of merit, right? There's a lot of projection there. The inability to perform to the same level, to the same degree as communities of color, and those that naturally follow him. So, yeah, uh, interesting. A lot of things that I'm just like, huh, all these, all these things, all these social dynamics that are so troubling to all, because here we are, right? Communities of color are no longer staying silent in every sector, whether that be in the beauty sector, in politics or history. On YouTube, I'm seeing the Black and brown community share their stories, share their experiences. And I also want to add that there's always been this ease in dealing with colonization. I know I said I didn't want to say that because I do feel in a way that I don't want to ever stoop to the level of those that have verbalized so much racism, right? Harassed so many individuals of color, policed so many individuals of color, and even depicting a small bit of that to me is, in my spirit, I'm just like, I can just share my observations, experiences, knowledge, understanding, but I never want to feel like something in my spirit isn't right, and I don't want to step outside of that, right? But those that have colonized, right, have managed to steal so much. I've seen a heavy emphasis on, and I never want to speak for other communities. So I'm always like, okay, do I want to talk about this? But I did see, I can only assume the white American, these designers that are, you know, they don't care if they steal like the cultural attire from a certain community or group, or the art, the once again the wear, right? Like accessories, any accessories. I feel like there's been so many white Americans stealing food in terms of, oh, this is something that I was inspired to create, trying to make it more Americanized, make it more palatable. Why are we keeping it as it is? Or why aren't we giving the platform to those individuals that are actually from those communities to do as they please? Why is it always the white man or white women trying to teach us? Or why are we putting them on platforms to teach us about our own culture, our own history, our own communities? Trying to transform traditional wear so it's more palatable by giving it European names. Just like the term settlers, founders. I remember there was this sane comment. White people founded and settled. White people stole, and I'm gonna the white settlers, the white founders. They weren't invited. That was illegal, right? We talk so much about illegal actions, and it's once again a lot of projection. Not acknowledging that your community has been doing a lot of illegal things since the very beginning. So, how about just taking a look in the mirror? Let's start there. It's always mind-boggling It's mind-boggling to see this happening, and I'm so happy to see women of color, men of color talking about this and mentioning it. It's time to be vocal, be bold. What has your experience been? What have you noticed? What have you seen? Call it out for what it is. We shouldn't make room for ignorance, racism in this country. Make America great. I hope that great would mean knowledgeable. I hope. But unfortunately, it doesn't. It seems once again to be a way to mask the reality. Let's remove the ability to progress by removing education, knowledge, by hiding history or making it palatable and comfortable for the white community. No, that's not how healing happens. That's not how a country can thrive. It cannot thrive in deceit. It cannot thrive in evil. It cannot thrive when you do wrong. It only thrives when there's recognition, when there's acknowledgement of the issues that have been happening. Unfortunately, like they say, and historically, we can see all great empires fall. I don't know if I can call this a great empire, but I can say all empires fall. And I find that the reason they fall is because they choose to be selfish and focused and centered only on themselves or those that look like themselves, because it's all about, and I say it a lot of times, I'll say it again, it's always about me, myself, and I, but never about another person, the other person, right? And once again, because the very community that has voted for Trump or upholds Trump's ideologies and beliefs likes to hide behind religiosity. Where is love thy neighbor? And I'll even take a step further, because I've said I would talk about the military because I've had experience in the military, and I was thinking and sitting on this, and I was saying the military loves to claim faith, yet is out here doing the very thing that historically has happened. Colonization can, be in and come in all forms. Colonization, yes, colonization happening with wars in the name of protection, of honor. Last time I checked the 10 Commandments, thou shalt not kill. Why are we killing? Oh, is it the excuse that, someone did something wrong, therefore we have to get back at it? Turn the other cheek, Jesus said. Did we forget that one too? Yeah. So it's a constant forgetting that the faith, or maybe it's just the fact that you want to shield or hide behind religion. It's not because you truly know the teachings of Jesus Christ. Because last time I also checked, he was a very humble man, in the sense that he really did have nothing, truly nothing on earth. He didn't come as a warrior. He came very humbly. Hardly had probably anything. His ministry was not political, although it was rather revolutionary, probably controversial for the time. Nonetheless, He said, give to Caesar what belongs to Caesar and give to God what belongs to God. Essentially pointing to none of this on earth is of my concern. Aside, bringing love and hope. I feel like the message he preached was one of hope. One that hopefully can bring restoration to people. And he wasn't concerned about what those that were just pursuing selfish greed were doing. Governments, for example, said, give to them what belongs to them, but give to God what belongs to God. It's hard to, I would say, navigate so much ignorance, so much just blatant stupidity in this world. And I do not know how I honestly deal with it, to be honest, because it frustrates me so deeply. Hate of any kind and disdain. And unfortunately, it's something that even occurs within our communities, which is even more frustrating. You have hope for individuals that have experienced racism, have made that clear that they have, and yet they are spewing racism, colorism, or any detrimental rhetoric that is not conducive to our communities. And that's been something that currently I'm clashing with, where it's like, do I want to continue in a role that does not align with my values? Here I am thinking, I found a place that has women of color, women that claim, or one individual claim to understand social issues, but yet so much of what is said is hateful, or is placing certain communities or other communities in boxes, right? So it's a difficult journey, because sometimes you wish individuals understood, or you wish you can encounter more individuals that, naturally, I'm not expecting everyone to be on the same page. We all have, and we're all individuals. We all have our perceptions, experiences, and understanding on life. I never want to dismiss that someone else's experiences is, I wouldn't dismiss. I've had that experience before, people dismissing my experience, whereas I don't want to dismiss another brother or sister's experience, or I wouldn't want that to be the case. But it's unfortunate that we aren't as united, right? And I hope that, with my videos getting out there, I hope there can be some sort of awakening, right, to unite as people, and to really do well for humanity. It's interesting because it's been so rainy and snowy and gloomy and depressing since, I feel like, January, and it's just like, is that foreshadowing? Is that foreshadowing of the current state we're in as a U.S., right? But I feel like as the world, as we look to Gaza, I've seen pictures previously, and I cannot see pictures because If you guys see some of the pictures that I've seen, and there's always this emphasis on they think of the children in Gaza. Think about the people in Gaza. These people were once children. Why do we devalue adults as well? As if they didn't have a childhood, they didn't have an experience. We all have experiences. And I understand it's to get to the heart of people, to move them. But people should know that all people are valued, be they young or old, and should be valued. But the picture I saw in the past was a hopelessness in their face, and I could tell that some individuals seemed like they were undergoing a lot mentally and emotionally, like instability. And this is what I say when I say, how can the U.S. justify such evil? How can the West justify such evil? So, this has been happening since the beginning of time. And we want to look elsewhere and we want to turn the blind eye, but it's been happening since the beginning of time, not even only in the U.S., around the globe. It's happening today. Another form of colonization disguised in this. We're protecting our country. People that went through their own persecution doing that. And that's why I say, when we experience hurt, we should not turn around and do hurtful things. Who are we to think that we are more valuable than someone else? It's so saddening to see the world do this, and people do this, and then claim they have a heart, claim they have humanity on their side. Where? Truly, where? It's so sad. I don't know how this world is able to function. People are able to function knowing that there's so much that's happened since the beginning of time. It's really saddening. Yeah, but I guess it is what it is. Meaning that, a lot of people say, and I've had these conversations, it's not that it is what it is. I've had conversations with someone that's learned and wanted to learn, I should word it like that, the Arabic language. Tell me, like, what am I doing in terms of changing the dynamic of what the U.S. is doing? As someone that's born and bred here, like, you have to make that change. You have to change that. I can say that I'm speaking on it now, but I did feel so guilty because it's, I felt so burdened during that conversation. This was a while back ago. Because it's like, me, a woman of color, a little woman, like literally a little, what can I do? Like, I can't do anything. Honestly, I can't do anything. I've donated, I've tried to, fund, but even then I'm just like, is it an organization that is established by the West? Is it
I don't trust Western organizations, to be honest. I find that the way in which they work, most of the time, if you look at the CEOs, they're making millions of dollars. Same with healthcare, like all these places, millions of dollars, and people are dying and people are donating, and they take a certain cut, a certain percentage, and I want nothing to do with that. So if I donated, it's through GoFundMe to specific families, but even then, it's like, what can I do, like as a person? Like there's so many people speaking out about it, not only here on YouTube naturally, but people are speaking or protesting about this issue. Like, and this is why I guess I feel really hurt a lot of times, because and really sad and discouraged about this world and everything that exists, because I understand and know that it's people that have money, that are in power, and have, unfortunately, mostly many evil intentions. They've been able to get there because they've done a lot of cruel things too. They've had to stomp over people, and unfortunately that leads many of the leaders that are at the very top, or those that are leading countries and places, to be questionable, to not be in the best interests of those that are less fortunate. So I want to say that much. That it's not that we don't care. It's not that the US doesn't care about God, or I can't speak for all of the US, but it's not that many of us don't care. It's what can we do? We are stuck with a crazy president. And even prior to our crazy president, clearly it was in America's best interest to not defend or, establish anything that was for the betterment of the Palestinian people as well. It's not only supposed to be about you. Like, I find that, with the community, like Israel, and this is why I say, like, a community that has gone through so much historically, or the ancestors, that you would do evil, that same evil, to another country. You never learned. You never humbled yourself. Humbling oneself is a key component to, I find, being able to reap goodness. And if you aren't capable of doing that, don't be surprised if evil comes knocking at your door, because what goes around comes around. And that's the reality of life. I can't believe people can't put those two and two together. When you sow evil, you reap evil. You can't expect to gain anything good from trying to prove something. What are you trying to prove? I'm really saddened that the world it's always about oneself. It's never about the collective. And that's heartbreaking, but maybe I'm too sensitive and empathetic to the plight of just about anyone that I know that may have had a difficult situation and circumstance, just because of their backgrounds, their skin tone, them being different in any way, shape, or form to what, unfortunately, those that have powered their way through and once again trampled over others have established. So yeah, I just want to say that much, that I'm sending love. I know it's crying so much, but it's really just heartbreaking to have all these things that occur, and I see it, I recognize it, many individuals recognize it. Do many people want to accept that that exists? Many people just care to, unfortunately, live their lives, or I'm not going to say many, but some individuals just care to ignore the reality that exists. And it's it's one of those things that it's it's better to, for some individuals, or I guess I would say select individuals, to not know the evil, or not engage in the sadness and evil, and therefore not make a difference and not change tomorrow, because it it may impact them, or it may have them confront something that they don't care to. But I can't live in denial in this life, and I have to, stay informed. I have to, in order for me to, I guess, like, one thing I've always said, I want to live for the betterment of, the benefit of others, meaning I want to always uplift. I believe in the message of lift while you climb. And to be honest, like, I do find that you have to confront harsh realities in that process, or in that journey. So that's all I wanted to say. I want to say bye. I know I was crying so much. And I probably, like, oh my gosh, like, what is happening? It's just, oh. It's hard to really, like, I feel like a lot of times I just keep it inside me, because I know I get very emotional, very worked up about the harsh realities that exist. They're hard to confront, they're hard to acknowledge, and yeah, but we must. So take care, everyone. Bye.